Things have been ramping up for AOC. That's pretty nice. I wonder what her game plan is. You got to think, because so AOC is obviously intelligent. I don't contest this. She's made a few moves that I've disagreed with. The big one for me was being weird about Biden stepping down in favor of Kamala Harris, right? She was making some weird presumptuous statements on behalf of the Democratic inner circle about like protecting Biden prior to him stepping down and Kamala Harris going in. And I thought that was strange. And my best explanation for that, like what made most sense to me was that she thought she had some kind of interior mandate. She thought maybe she was like bidding for some kind of position or exposure. She did end up attending the DNC and she got a highlight speech there. I don't know why she did that. She's clearly got some kind of broader game going on, you know? I mean, she has ambitions for the future, which is good. You need power-hungry motherfuckers if you want to win, right? Like, what do you do if every left-leaning person in your, you know, in your caucus is like humble and contrite and, you know, oh, actually I'm just here to represent the people. No, you need some like firebrands. Obviously, you need people who are willing to take charge. It was probably a misstep. Yeah, I would say so. It didn't help her, at least not publicly. Maybe there was some private concession that was made. Can't really say. But she is growing. Well, what happens if those power-hungry people become dictatorial themselves? Well, what happens if a car hits you when you leave the house tomorrow? What do you mean? You need power-hungry people. You need ambitious people. Otherwise, how do you win? You know, what if the moon falls into Lake Michigan? It's one of the biggest problems with the left's like very virtue signally gatekeepy approach to building power. Like crabs in a bucket. If anyone gets too big for their britches, they get pulled down. They're being too presumptuous. They're being too aggressive. But like at the end of the day, you need like aggressive cutthroat motherfuckers to win, especially in a country like America, man. This isn't some like small. We're not talking about like a city council election. We're not talking about like you know, getting on the a board of some trust or whatever. We're talking about the presidency of the United States when you represent an ideology oppositional to the people who currently run the United States. You need to be aggressive. It's one of those, like, sometimes you feel like people don't even want to win kind of things. Was it bad for the left that she portrayed communists as extremists in a campaign email? No, and frankly, I don't even think she did that. From one of her emails. Fox News and the right wing would have you believe that my American values are something out of the Communist Manifesto, poorly censored first name. But I don't believe in healthcare, labor, and human dignity because I'm an extremist. I believe these things because I was a waitress. First of all, if you're a communist, you are definitionally a political extremist. I don't know why anyone would argue against that. Like, even communists say that. For two, this line goes hard. For three, you really, like, what do you want? You want, like, the left to win in this country by, like, convincing America that communism is a good thing? No, you idiot. You need a social democrat or maybe a socialist wrapping themselves in the flag, talking about how, you know, American values like individualism are being crushed by corporate oligarchy. You know, you can't, I don't, it's just a virtue signaling thing. Yeah, the only way these motherfuckers want us to get even a hair leftward in this country is if a person's waving the Soviet flag. Now, there's some people being pissy about it. Yeah, she said at the rally, or she said a version of it.
You know, Fox News and the right wing will have you believe that these American values are something out of the Communist Manifesto. That we believe these things because we went to college and read them in a book somewhere. But let me tell you, Fox News, I don't believe these things. I don't believe in healthcare, labor, and human dignity because I'm a Marxist. I believe it because I was a waitress. Because I scrubbed toilets with my mom to go to school.
This is, by the way, like, this is literally like on the book leftist messaging. The idea that your prioritization of leftist values and leftist political thought isn't some abstract like book reading or whatever, but just a consequence of engagement with the real world as a worker. Like, yeah, it's just like, it's literally like picture perfect representation of how you should be framing this. What do you want her to do? She go up there and she's like, now everyone has to read the Communist Manifesto. I saw Hassan getting a little pissy about this, which I don't know. I guess you can sort of expect because he does play into the virtue signaling bit a little bit when it comes to left-leaning messaging. It wasn't too much. It wasn't too much. What was it? What did I see? I don't think reading the Communist Manifesto makes you an extremist. It's very good and simple to understand. Everyone should read it. Yeah, you know, it's kind of like a vague tweet, but nothing but the highest IQ responses here. Hassan's terrible at rhetoric? No, he's not. I just think, you know, you have to focus on the point that's being made. The point from AOC is not nobody should read the Communist Manifesto. That's obviously not the point of what she's saying. The point of what she's saying is like, you can arrive at supporting these positions. You can arrive at these values just by experiencing what life is like as a working class American. Hassan's rhetoric is clearly directed at people who already identify as leftists. AOC is speaking to regular voters. Yeah, but the problem is, okay, you know how the most effective neo-Nazis don't lambast Trump when Trump says stuff like, we support equal opportunity, not equity? Like, America is a great place for all as long as you're legal, but rather they support all of the explicitly reactionary stuff the administration does. You know how it's good for us when people like Nick Fuentes separate themselves from the broader MAGA coalition by saying like, well, he's not Hitlerite enough or whatever? They're most effective when they fall in line. That's what I'm saying, basically. You want to have like a popular front because you really, really, really don't want to inflame a narrative that AOC is like a disingenuous, backstabbing shitlib who's actually like principally anti-leftist or whatever, because there are a lot of lefties who already think that. I'm not saying that you can't criticize. I'm saying like you have to understand what angle they're pushing for, understand the way they're approaching people, and try to follow in with that. You know, don't engage in like this reflexive contrarianism where you try to like distinguish yourself as the more lefty type or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. I hope this keeps working, man. AOC has been really destroy the gulag in your head. Yeah, and no, AOC has been doing quite a good job. About 2/3 of Democrats have a favorable opinion of Ocasio-Cortez, and just 5% view her unfavorably. That's very impressive. Among all adults, about 4 in 10 had a negative view of Ocasio-Cortez, while about 3 in 10 had a positive view. That makes sense to me, because where do you hear about AOC? That's right, from Fox News. The right wing is the one that talks about her, not the left wing. If you watch MSNBC, NBC, CNN, you know, ABC, how often does AOC come up? Not too often. You watch Fox News, you hear about her all the time. Every right-winger is anti-AOC. And so far, you know, her reach has been mostly limited to her district and the left. So this is an opportunity for her to spread her wings a bit, try to reach out to a broader constituency. They interview her quite a bit on MSNBC nowadays. There has been a bit of a shift. I mean, how many representatives on the Democrat side are even doing anything? Right? Like, genuinely, like, if you want to bring people on and talk with them and ask them, like, you know, what's up? What are you doing? Anything interesting you want to talk about? There's not that many of them actually doing anything. On both sides, to be fair. I think a lot of Republican reps, even Republican senators, are starting to recognize the fact that they're kind of useless now. You get that feeling? The whole unitary executive theory, I mean, what's the value of even a Republican rep or senator? Every once in a while you get to push through a bill, but for the most part, like, the spotlight's off of you. Yeah, I saw she was on NPR recently.
If I had to pick one word, it would be resolved.
It's not shocked or dismayed or anything like that at this moment?
I mean, in
on
this
the defensive?
moment, I think we've moved through shock. I think we've moved through dismay. I think we've moved through the 5 stages of grief. I think we've moved through that defensiveness. But it is, I think, a rapidly evolving situation. And I would say this week, especially in the light of last night's budget vote, the moment right now, today, is resolve.
We're talking.
You said before that she'd be a terrible idea for president. Do you think you're starting to change the position? No, not yet. No. For a senator, sure. For a president, she's too young, and she's a woman, and that will bother a lot of people. I don't know. We might get like a punished AOC sometime in the future. Like, she's got a deep scar running down the eye and she's got a more gravelly voice, but she's kind of double caught here, because not only is she a young woman, she's like quite young looking and sounding for the age that she already is. You know what I mean? Like, she literally has a cartoon face. When she smiles, it's all front teeth and red rosy cheeks, and she has like a, like a boisterous, high-pitched voice. None of these are insults. I think that she's delightful, but a lot of voters are sexist.
Here on a Wednesday, the night before there was this budget vote, every single Democrat voted no. Do you consider that an accomplishment, that your party was united, even if it was united?
This was before Schumer backstabbed everyone and pushed for the Democratic Senate to vote yes.
In a no.
Yes. I mean, of course, if we were not united in yesterday's vote, I think we would be in far, far, far deeper trouble. But the fact that there is this much unity is important. It is, I think, a baseline prerequisite for the moment to come and the fight over Medicaid, Medicare, and frankly, huge swaths of the American economy.
Do you assume that Republicans...
I don't buy the sexist argument. Mexico elected Scheinbaum. Yeah, okay, but here, hold on. I'm again, none of this should be construed on my end as an argument against AOC. I'm talking about public perception. Scheinbaum looks way more like a national leader than AOC does. She's older and has a much more serious face. Also, I'm not saying that there aren't sexists in Mexico, but America, we have a very specific conception of what our president looks like. That's what, when people say, like, is so-and-so presidential, this is what they mean. Now, obviously, that's a very racially and gender-biased perception. Again, I'm not validating or affirming any of these biases. I'm only saying that they reflect in how people vote. Don't you think it's not a coincidence that there is a very strong tendency, since television was invented, for the taller candidate to win the presidential election? In fact, candidates that are taller than their opponents are perceived as more popular, rated by experts as greater, more leadership communication skills, received more popular votes, although they were not significantly more likely to win the actual election. So they're more likely to win popular votes, but not the election. I guess that's the Electoral College for you. Taller presidents were more likely to be reelected. Well, it's complicated.
Republicans are going to give you the issues that are going to allow you to come back.
And Donald Trump said, do not solve this problem. As long as
Bosh Mexican men are extremely sexist too. Listen, I can't make you who you aren't, okay? You're either a person who listens or a person who doesn't. You can argue against the position that I have, or you can futilely shadowbox in the corner, all right? I've already teleported behind you. My katana is drawn, okay? I'm just saying, like, understand who you're up against.
Is broken, then it will be politically beneficial for us. And so it is a problem not just for Democrats, it's a problem for the entire country that Republicans do not want to solve any sort of issue with immigration. They are completely uninterested in...
I think part of it is also the fact that people tend to, and this might be my opinion, but I do think that there's some validity to this. People think New York accents are charming, and she does have one. I know that's a very broad categorization, but it's still true. People tend to find them charming. They tend to find them unserious in women and more serious in men. I think that people generally think New Yorker accents are unserious, but I think that they see it more so, like the association with women who have like the New Yorker accent, they see it more as like a, I don't know, Sopranos Don wife kind of thing, right? Italian moms. Whereas there's a kind of, I don't know, grungy seriousness to the, I'm walking here, but from a guy. Yeah, isn't this just sexism? Yes, I'm talking about sexist biases in the public. That's the whole thing I'm talking about. Yes. I think if I had to guess, I would say when I hear New York accent or whatever, again, like I'm very much generalizing here, okay? But when I hear that accent, I think of Italians, like cops, the mob. I think of the 1930s. I think of brick buildings. I think of how America was a century ago. And I think of housewives and, kind of fat men with hairy chests. I guess I think of Italians mostly. because Italians kind of like are the cultural reps of New York City and New Jersey, in my opinion, at least. You think of Lois Griffin? I think of Lois Griffin a little bit. Yeah. So maybe it's like when you hear that accent from a woman, it comes across as less educated, whereas with a guy, you might think like, oh no, yeah, he's just like one of the fellas. I'm not sure. I don't know. Peter. Yeah. I don't know. Bro watches The Sopranos once. Yeah, but every episode's an hour, and there's like 60 episodes, 70 episodes. So yeah, like you watch The Sopranos once, it's the equivalent of watching 35 straight Sopranos movies. It is, I'm basically Italian now, is what I'm saying. Anyway, I don't know. I really am hoping for the best for AOC. She's one of the few glimmers of hope that we have.
In addressing undocumented people, in addressing a path to citizenship.
Well, they do want to address undocumented people by removing them. I mean, that's what the president is attempting now.
Even then.
Is this guy, I can't believe it. Is this guy actually wearing a good suit? That's a lapel roll. The shoulders fit correctly. Holy shit, I can't believe it. Is it finally happening? He doesn't have the dimple in the center of his tie, but I guess that's a preference thing for cleanliness. He's got a nice roll on the collar of his shirt. Is it finally happening?
Documented people by removing them. I mean, that's what the president is attempting now.
Even then.
We need to see the pants, yeah.
You see what Republicans did with the Lake and Riley Act recently in their passage with it, in that they authorized the complete gutting of due process. So now you can take a DACA recipient, a dreamer, just accuse them of a crime.
And deport them.
And however, they also understand that they don't even have the infrastructure to do that. So they're actually creating it's not even about creating a deportation pipeline. They are creating a private prison camp pipeline. So they're still creating pipelines to just increase this problem here in the United States.
Why do you think this issue did seem to be a political loser for Democrats among key groups and key constituencies?
You can only keep saying they won't like AOC because of X so many times until it just sounds like you're revealing your personal biases. I genuinely, where in life do you find happiness when you look for excuses to be cynical so readily? Come on. If I talk about like America being racist and you're like, okay, buddy, that's the third time you've said America is racist. Starting to think you're talking about yourself here. What? Oh, sorry, I was adjusting my light, not turning it off. You think I'm racist? If I was racist, then could I turn black at will? You like that? Was that good? One for the clip farmers. I want AOC to win. Don't get me wrong. If AOC was the there are few people who could do a better job than her, and I think that's mostly because being a good president has to do with like political instincts and public will, more so than like decades of experience. Obviously. By the standards of his administration, Trump is a unprecedentedly successful president in terms of how much he's getting done. It's just the things that he's getting done are evil and destructive. I guess it's harder to build things than to break them. But I think she could do it. Do you think she could win in 2028? I don't know if we're all going to be alive in 2028. Maybe she could. But I think more things have to change. Honestly, I think a lot of it is just a matter of her presentation, you know? I really do think that one of the biggest things that's holding her back is the fact that she's a young woman. Now, she can only age at 1 day per day. That's the rate at which most people age, I'm told. That still is aging. Needs an eye patch? If she could just get an eye patch, maybe like a Tulsi Gabbard gray hair streak? I don't know. Yeah, she needs to take up smoking. She can do stuff with her hair and clothes to appear older? Yeah. I wonder if being more angry, one of the things, it's so difficult to be angry as a female politician. It's so difficult because everyone's just going to call you a bitch, you know? If you're a man, you can have the most embarrassing tirades all the time. And it's just like, you just get to do that. She needs to transition. Oh, that'd be a timeline. Didn't she kind of pull that off the DNC? I maintain that whoever pulls us out of this mess, when we get pulled out of this mess, if we get pulled out of this mess, will be someone who can call Trump a idiot. She needs to practice in the mirror. I don't know. I'm rooting for her. Really, I am. She clearly wants to go farther. There are other people in the squad, you know, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib. I don't know if it's that they don't want to go farther. I think it's just they're limited by their circumstances a little bit, mostly to be perceived as activists. But AOC might bridge, you know, AOC might bridge that gap, the activist politician. It's tough to be both. Look at Corbyn. Look at Corbyn.